Welcome, everyone, to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a lovely Tuesday morning, and we're here to provide support or answer any questions about our software services. And otherwise, we'll just stream random chit-chat and talk, whatever we have to ramble on about to fill the dead air. If you'd like to join in on the chatter and direct where we go, you can jump over to foolishtechshow.com and join our IRC chat. There's a few ways to join it from there, and we'd love to hear from you. And if we're in the middle of anything and you have a question about our software services, feel free to interrupt, because that's what we're here for. So looks like we got Glenn already in the chat. Morning, Glenn. So, how's everyone doing this morning?
I'm really well.
Pretty good.
Why is your camera broken?
You want? Well, anyway, I got a lot done last night working on OPN Sense, my router project that Brantley's been harping on me about, but for good reason, because I do. I needed the experience in setting one of those things up, and
so let me just interject really quick that before the show, Michael stated that he could not be hacked. So this is a call out to all YouTubers, all Twitchers, all people in our IRC.
No,
Michael has stated that he cannot be hacked with his setup now. He's got IDS stuff, and he is ready for you. So out there.
Well, anyway, I do feel a slightly higher measure of security with the setup with this gateway. But anyway, I want to just briefly just talk about it. I used OPN Sense. It's it's a fork of PF Sense, which is a very popular distribution. But so this is the one I'm using there, and PF Sense. I'll send you that link too. Is the PF? Oh, yeah, it's about the same thing. And so that's PF Sense. I like OPN Sense. I just don't have a direct comparison of the new version of PF Sense to compare to. I've downloaded it. I just haven't tried it out yet. But I believe that they differ on their interfaces, particularly in the new version of PF Sense. And there's some other programming styles that they're different in, and by that I mean programming organizational styles. Anyway, long story, but I think it's a good, solid product. I found the help and the interface to be pretty much solid, rock solid. It was a little bit overwhelming, I guess, the extent of the options, but that's to be expected. And it's
Can you show us some of it?
Well,
yeah, actually,
just a
I
quick
can.
question. Why would someone want to choose Open Sense over PF Sense? Do you?
Okay, so the long and short of it is that I believe it's ultimately going to be a more reliable distribution. It's not going to have it's going to have a greater consistency across all of its features. And I don't know. There's subtle little differences there. I encourage you to read it up on the page, but basically, I had the choice of both. One thing I was reading with the new version of PF Sense was that there were some regressions, specifically relating to VPN, which is something I specifically wanted to do, and that's basically the reason I chose OPN Sense. I can, lie to you and say I did it for a whole lot of other reasons, but that's ultimately the reason. Now, the PF Sense issue is minor, and in fact, with the first update that you get to it, you may actually have it resolved. So again, it's not really a fair comparison of the two. Having only downloaded and not tried out PF Sense, I can't say that it's not as good of an option. It may be completely good. It may even be better than OPN Sense. However, I've had a really good experience with OPN Sense so far, and I'll I'll show it to you. So,
Are there any differences? It looks like it's just a updated interface with the menu on the side.
well, that's the thing. There's going to be more differences in the new version of PF Sense. I believe you're referring to an older version, or that they just recently, I thought, did a new.
I'm looking at the OPN Sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but yeah, currently it's in earlier versions of PF Sense. Yeah, the difference is somewhat minimal. I mean, I again, I haven't tried PF Sense, so you would know better than I on that question.
Well, I haven't tried OpenPN Sense.
So let's see if there's any interesting information here that I need to block out. Let's okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and where is it? Why don't I see it? Is it on the other window? Oh, here it is. Can you guys see that?
Hold on, I think Proctor may have to switch some things.
We got it. It'll take a minute for that.
All right.
So, do you guys see my dashboard here with the information inside of it, or do you see a blank window? Okay.
We see your dashboard.
Okay, so does this look like PF Sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I think I've got a pretty good, reasonable processor going behind this. I even think it might have acceleration of hardware acceleration of security or random number generator. You know, all the improvements Microsoft made to those types of things, as the security instructions. And notice my CPU hardly ever budges. Like 1%, I believe, is the highest CPU usage I've seen. Just obviously sitting there doing, usually idle, but even not idle, it's minimal.
It's because you don't have it doing enough.
Well, I probably need to have it do more, but it is actively doing a VPN. Okay, so just to give you an idea,
it's not right now.
Why isn't it?
Because your
VPN
client
it's down.
stopped.
You're right, it is. Oh, geez.
Don't start it. You're going to disconnect. Oh, so please take note of that WAN address right there. Hackers, if you're looking to hack.
Stop that. Hold on, I forgot to turn off the phone.
Let's not make it too easy on them.
Yeah. Well, no, we could also make it easy on them. Here's a vulnerability report. For April 2016.
Anyway,
Are we going to give a coupon, a discount to for the first person who can reboot Michael's computer remotely?
Yeah, you're right. Why did I have my VPN connected? I thought that set this up. That's interesting. I wonder why it disconnected. I can't remember what I did last night or where I left it, but okay. Maybe I was doing some testing. Oh, yeah, I was doing some speed testing back and forth. I guess that's why, but it should auto start that. I don't know why it was down. But it probably didn't change anything. I guess I do have to disconnect, so I can't really show you. And why do I keep showing that? Apparently anytime I hit anything down here, it shows that.
Yeah, it refreshes that page.
Son of a bitch. So...
Hey, Futures Tech Eric and Futures Tech Nell.
So you'll edit that out, right, Brantley? You'll put bars over that for me?
No, this is so they can hack you.
Anyway.
That's actually precisely the reason I wanted to show this off.
So I also have my this guy here that I set up, obviously the VPN, and
so
and then I did
most of PF Sense is based off of modules. Where are you installing the modules?
I didn't do anything. This is out the gate, I did an update, and that was, oh, I know what you mean. Hold on. You mean, where am I? Like here?
Yeah, so the plugins and stuff, yeah. So yeah, that does. I mean, like it really looks like it's mostly the same stuff. It's just the menu bar is on the left, and they renamed some things. Is this a whole separate branch? Like, is this?
Yeah, it's a fork. It's a complete fork of PF Sense. And and they have their own direction. Again, look at the verbiage on that page. I didn't really go by that so much, other than what I saw in PF Sense about that minor regression with the VPN stuff, and they had a fix and a workaround and all that stuff. So it really probably isn't that big of an issue. But
well, it would be interesting to see if they do anything easier or better. So. My biggest, like, PF Sense is awesome. Like, it's extremely powerful.
Like, did you get the cool? I even like the cool beep on the shutdown and startup. I mean, just something as simple as that. And you could do that probably on anything else, but I don't know. It just does it by default, and it. I thought this was the only thing I didn't like about the VPN setup is they didn't have like a, even in like DDWRT, they have a quick, like, pretty much a checkbox or two where you can make it so that the routes are updated, and in the firewall for that to work, and you have to do it manually through here. But you're just basically cloning the existing ones and changing the interface. It's a very simple process to set it up in here, and one would argue that it gives you even more flexibility potentially, but I thought it was very simple.
What are some of the other plugins there?
So like this is under system here. So
yeah,
we
just
have.
Click on the plugins tab there.
Oh, there you mean? Okay.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any of the regular Are all those packages ones that you haven't installed then?
No, these are ones that are all installed. If I hit fetch updates, it updates all of everything. It looks like at least.
So that is different. It seems like maybe there's a lot more plugins for PF Sense. Like I saw you have the Securita for your IDS stuff, but you said that came pre-installed. You didn't have to install anything for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I kind of like, that it was all it was very easy and already set up and configure. Like, I could configure everything from this, and I don't have to worry about getting plugins. I don't have to worry about supporting. And that maybe their other thing is like, well, I support 1,000 different things when I have a good solid package, I guess. And I had to do some stuff with my certificates and whatnot. And some interface configuration. Or why? Yeah, I guess that's fine. I technically do have a wireless interface on this box, but I don't really want to use it or care to use it.
So it looks like it's having a lot of it doesn't have a lot of the optional things that you can configure with.
Yeah, so far, like, I didn't find some of the stuff that you had mentioned off the top. I don't know, how easy or hard it is to add, since it's based off. It's a fork. I mean, I imagine the plugin should work.
Well, like, I don't see Squid proxy or
no. I mean, I don't.
That stuff.
I don't exactly. I don't either. But oh well.
Yeah, no, that's not a caching proxy.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like.
Caching proxy. Yeah, no, it's not.
So it looks like PF Sense is still far more powerful. It's a lot. Like, basically for PF Sense, the hard thing about it is you have to know the basis of PF Sense, and then you pretty much really need to know about each of those packages that you're installing and what you can do with it and how it works on its own individually. That's where things kind of gets a little bit more confusing and chaotic. So yeah, so they don't have many plugins at all, it seems like.
Yeah. So there's not another way to.
You just can install a test package.
That's just
Maybe
Can you
they'll
install
get me
more
all my
plugins?
plugins.
Huh?
Can you install more plugins?
Well, I mean, I am installing one right now, but I don't know how to
No,
add
he
more.
was saying, can you add more to that plugins list? And that may be true. Like Michael said, it since it is a fork of PFSense, you may be able to pull the packages from PFSense and put it into OpenSense, OPN Sense, but I would still, you'd have to know more about that package than you would on PFSense, since at least PFSense is kind of designed for it.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you can stop sharing your screen while you're doing stuff like that. I will have to edit that part out now. Thanks.
Oh, you should see that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you share your screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, interesting. Glad you did that. And again, everyone out there, IRC, YouTube land, Michael said he's now hack proof. You saw who his VPN provider was. You saw his WAN IP. So I also gave you a list of vulnerabilities from April 2016. So have at it. First person that restarts Michael's computer and can prove it gets a good coupon discount. So Futures Tech Eric, I did watch the John Oliver thing on Puerto Rico. Interesting situation they got going on there. We didn't really talk that much about it. I'm imagining Michael's watched it as well, since he's all into John Oliver now that I showed him how cool he was. I have something interesting that I found out about. So this page is a really good in-depth article on IPFS. Has anyone of y'all heard of that? No? So IPFS is basically what aspires to be a replacement to HTTP. And essentially what it does is it takes the hash definition of files and folders and uses that as the URL essentially. And then it allows it to be distributed by all of the nodes on the network instead of just one server. So with HTTP, the issue is that you're over here, you have to call this server, the server has to talk back to you, and it can only go one way. Now, if you have two computers in this room, both of you have to call this one server way over here and talk back. But say you've already been to this page and server and you've gotten all the content. Someone else comes on your network and needs all that content. They don't have to go to the server over here. They can just talk directly to you and pull that content. Essentially, it's decentralizing the HTTP setup and environment and world. And apparently it can basically just take on the current HTTP setup plus all of your other technologies and things that go on the web. There was actually two really good videos. This one is a lot more technical as far as what the protocols and in-depths and all this stuff that goes on with it. So that one I highly recommend watching for that. If you want a little bit more slimmed down, non-technical, can explain it to a lot more people version, this video does they both pretty much explain the same things. Some of them, the more technical, the first one has a lot more information in it, but the second one kind of adds a couple things here and there for various scenarios that you might not have thought of. But yeah, it is really cool, I thought, Eric. It's currently in alpha stage right now. They said they're working with a major browser to get it implemented to be able to be read easily. And it's open source and you can download it and start working with it right away. It really does seem like a cool and interesting project, and it would be nice to see the web decentralized. In fact, probably most of your major internet companies out there would prefer this, because right now Google, Amazon, Yahoo, Netflix, Hulu, all of those people have to run multiple servers around the world to be able to provide their content to people at fairly efficient speeds. This would essentially take that out of their hands. Anyone that's used their content would be able to redistribute their content. The other side of that is if someone's server goes down, you don't have to rely on the Wayback Machine to have archived it. It could be anybody else in the world that has that content is able to distribute that content to you without you having to look through it and work through it and do it. They did not mention who the major browser is that they're working with. I would assume it's going to be Firefox or Google, possibly. I would lean more towards Firefox, though. Yeah, probably not Edge.
So how long would the data be stored on local machines until it's cleared, or?
It doesn't really go into that much about it. That was a concern I had, was like, now if I'm hosting the web from my computer, what do I have to deal with there as far as taking up disk space and working on things? So wasn't completely clear on that side of things, and I haven't installed it to test it out yet. So I would imagine there is going to be a space concern, because essentially it kind of sounds like it's just sharing your temporary internet cache files.
Okay.
But not like
if one computer with the cache data on it were on a separate network from me, and I'm trying to reach the original web server, but the cache data is closer to me, will it still be able to get to the cache data from another network?
That's what it sounded like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does sound like that. Again, they are kind of in the alpha stage, so maybe they don't have that kind of stuff worked out yet. All I saw in the demo stuff that they had was the fact that basically you can set up an IPFS setup, so you can go ahead and watch HTTP stuff or movies or music and play it with little to no latency. So it may be that they don't have the full distributed side worked out yet, but again, I'm not really clear on that myself. So,
okay.
Yeah, it could possibly be a cache clearing nightmare, honestly. I would imagine that would probably be one of the biggest things, is you'd want to set how much space you want to allow to it, and then I guess you have to be lucky if that person doesn't clear out all of their cache and they still have the content that they visited a long time ago. But I mean, honestly, if it was helping the web go forward with unique content, I would probably assign a whole drive to it, just so I could have that much cache and be able to assist back to the web. Because I mean, that's one of the biggest things right now, is there's no way for individual people to really enjoy the content they have and be sure that they can get it back to other people later on down the road. So Like right now, we rely on the people hosting the content to be able to provide it. They could also probably end up in issues with copyright stuff, I would imagine, as well with this. But again, not too sure on the full technical details of how the back end of it works. So, because like now, if I stream a movie, is it cached on my computer? And if other people come and watch it from my computer's address, does that mean that I'm streaming that movie to them and now I'm liable for copyright distribution material and things like that?
Right.
Yeah, and
you become an unwilling host.
Yeah, and then, well, I technically was willing since I went there. That is another thing too, Eric. It would probably require a rethought of the internet. They were fairly clear on the fact that they've designed it to be completely, pretty much a transparent option for HTTP. Like you can have your same HTTP content. Everything is going to work just as it does. It'll just be going through a different method of location. But it would probably take some rethought on how you do things. Like you wouldn't just be clearing your caches every day. But at the same time, if you needed to get updated information, would you have to clear your cache to do that, or could you refresh just that page, or force it to look to the server? Not sure how that would help out and work, but yeah, and that's why I think that it's going to be a big thing, is being able to relieve the pressure on content providers. Because I mean, Google, they have a thing in that article, the Gundam Style, the most popular video on YouTube. It cost Google over $2 million to show that video on YouTube that many times to that many people. So just think about that. $2 million for one video. That is a lot of cost.
Is that an annual cost?
I think it was calculated for everyone that's watched it currently.
Okay.
So whatever the view count is on it right now, however many times it took to download that that size video, and then also the bandwidth cost of that, is probably how they calculated that. But
gotcha.
Yeah,
Total
still a
cost.
significant cost to be able to host something like that. I mean, we already see it with our stuff, is that we have to pay for bandwidth and cloud computing power and things like that. So it seems interesting. I'm excited to see where they go. I hope this one takes off, because the guy in the video, I think, is the one of the main people behind it, and he seems really cool about it and knowledgeable. So they did also mention that HTTP has a second version coming out that could rival this, but it's basically the same HTTP concept. It wouldn't really relieve any of the things. It would just make things faster and more efficient. I don't think that's the option that we really need to go to. I would think that a peer-to-peer option would be far better, especially for some of the reasons they pointed out. Like, if we went to this type of network, there wouldn't be a way for an entire government to shut off internet access to all of its people. There wouldn't be a way to remove content that you didn't like. Essentially, it would be shared among all the people, and you'd have to go to all of the people to get rid of it. So that would be far, far better and more efficient as far as keeping it a tool for the people, for everyone, and essentially what the internet really was supposed to be.
Oh, are you soapboxing, Brantley?
What?
Nothing.
That a soapbox?
No, I don't know. I just it almost seems like you feel passionately about that. That's cute. Nice. Awesome.
I've always liked peer-to-peer stuff. I think BitTorrent is one of the greatest protocols the internet's come up with.
I do as well. Yeah. I mean, I think all the political bullshit is on top of it is a little it kind of belies the actual benefits of it if it were embraced and not directly associated with piracy or whatever that the media sometimes would have you believe. Those types of technology fuel the efficient use of limited bandwidth, particularly in developing countries and for communication around the world. And it can handle and do things that bigger networks would be required, would otherwise be required. You would otherwise be required to have bigger networks to accomplish the things as you could require with something like BitTorrent. And all it takes is and a good number of friends. I mean, it's great for free speech. It's great for the distribution of information in let's say a country has an oppressive government. It's great for a whole slew of reasons that people oftentimes overlook. And but just because some people may use it for activities you may not agree with does not mean it's not a technological marvel, and it's not something that's an enabling technology and not something that's an empowering technology. What the internet was I would agree, largely the concepts that the internet was based upon, allowing the little person to compete in a much larger world.
Yeah. And I really feel like it's something that the larger companies can get behind. The IPFS stuff was actually based off of things like BitTorrent and some of the services and things that they use and how they distribute content. So it's really, really interesting. I hope it really takes off, and I just want to get the word out to everyone to check out that project. We can move on now. Here's another thing that you can't do on the Odroid. Chromium OS is on the Raspberry Pi 3 now, and I didn't find out specifically, but I think it is the 64-bit version.
I don't know about that. That you show me some proof of that, but
here's another thing you can't do.
Actually,
you can make a wizard wall, so you can have it display to several monitors and take your face and make it like dystopian type style stuff. So
maybe it is 64-bit. Actually, you're probably right. At the development of the Odroid C2 has probably spurned the development of the ARM v8, and Pi 3 is ARM v8 as well, as you should know.
Doubtful the Odroid did anything for it.
Whatever. But but no, that very well may be the 64-bit. In fact, I would imagine Chromium OS, being that the Chromium I thought had no longer made 32-bit versions. But I'm not sure. But I'll read about it and I'll let you know if I find the answer.
So one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made is now available on Android Wear. So if you like playing Counter-Strike, you can try your best at getting a headshot with Android Wear now if you want. It seems like it's extremely difficult to use and work with and play with, but it's still an awesome proof of concept that, I mean, really, something on my wrist can play a multiplayer video game that required one of the nicest PCs back in the day. So that's pretty awesome. It works great on Android. Counter-Strike's CS Portable, I think, is the one there. So if you like Counter-Strike, it's still going strong. They actually have tournaments that still pay out fairly big for being able to win those, although I would never be able to compete on that level. It's still a fun game to play, and it's awesome that they can do that on a watch now. So thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to play Counter-Strike on my watch, but it's awesome that it can be done.
Oh, and
did
Future
you?
Sec. Oh, what?
Oh, Futures. That's what I was looking at. Doom, is it out yet, or is this still in beta, or what's up?
Oh no, Doom 3 or Doom 4, I guess it is now, is still in beta. You can actually play the open beta on Steam. It is pretty fun. They only allow you to do multiplayer, and you can do deathmatch or team deathmatch. It's pretty awesome. If you have Steam, go ahead and get it. But what FutureSec Eric is pointing out is that apparently ID Software released the Doom 1 source code for free.
Didn't they do that a long time ago?
Uh,
I thought they.
it
I
does
didn't.
say 4 years ago on the source code, so.
I did not think that this was particularly a new event, and that's one of the reasons why there's all those Doom engines out there that don't have the content. Of course, you have to provide the WAD or whatever they're called files, but
Yeah,
that's been out there
that's,
forever. But yeah,
that is what's interesting is that they didn't release all the WAD stuff for it. That's kind of upsetting. There's actually something for the Gear VR, a Sidekick project that, or not Sidekick, well, yeah, I think it's Sidekick VR. Basically, the non-Oculus store has a Doom version that you can go and play, and you can play Doom in VR. So I have to find my original copy of Doom so I can get the WAD and put it on my phone to play it. But it seems pretty awesome, and it is an awesome game. And yeah, I highly recommend checking out Doom 4 if you have Steam. It's free to install and play, and it's pretty fun. It is pretty fun. It's like I found it as a mix between the action take of Quake multiplayer with graphics of Doom. So I thought it was an interesting. They definitely smoothed out the the multiplayer interface of it, and it looks like they really focused on that. So it feels a lot more fast paced, more like a Quake deathmatch where people are just dying all around you. But then has the awesome graphics that Doom has long since been known for. So.
And Brantley, looks like they're releasing it May 13th.
For the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, cool. I want to get it because I like the single player mode, but I don't know yet. I think I'll still wait another year so that it can be cheap. I don't like paying $60 for a game. That's
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
I don't either.
Like I'm still waiting for GTA 5 to go down so I can actually buy it.
I just bought it
GTA 5
over the weekend.
for what?
$24.
No, for what console? I mean.
PS3.
Ah, cool. Yeah, it is. That is an awesome game. You'll have a lot of fun with it. It's by far one of the best GTA's they've ever come out with. So
Honestly, this is the first GTA I've owned since I think the first one.
oh geez, yeah. Then you're in for a real treat. Have you played it all before now?
Not since the first one. I think I might have played a friend's
wow.
copy of like 2 or 3.
Wow.
Many years. So
I'm assuming by 2 or 3 well, the first one. I'm assuming you mean GTA 3, the first person one, or first third person one.
probably, yeah.
Well, was yours a top down or were you following the character behind it?
Following the character.
Okay, yeah, that's GTA 3 is the first one that did that.
That's how little I've played these games. I don't even know. But I'm having.
Yeah, well, it's really hard because that is a really common mistake is that GTA was an original top-down game, and that game was awesome, but it was nowhere near as awesome as what GTA 3 did. Like, taking you from the top-down view to the following the character view just put it in a whole new perspective. that really is where it picked up and hit mainstream, was with GTA 3. So saying the first one, it makes sense, but if you know all of the game history, then it kind of makes less sense. But and I'm guessing by
not know the game history much. So
yeah, the first one actually came out about the same time as Postal's original top-down game, and had about similar graphics. GTA 2 was basically the same thing as GTA 1, just different city. GTA 3 is the first one where they had the follow person. Then they had GTA Vice City, where is the first one they had motorcycles. Then they had GTA San Andreas, I believe, came after that one, which was a nice upgrade to what GTA 4 did, with a lot more content, a lot more area. Then GTA 4 came out, and I played that one just a little bit. It was basically essentially taking all of the graphics and making it a ton better. Then GTA 5 came out, and they did everything amazingly. So
it's huge.
It's interesting because it's based off of LA, I believe. So
Yeah.
if you actually go to LA, you'll be able to recognize some of the streets and things after having played it for a long time. So after you feel like you've completely owned that world and you know everything about it, or take a trip to LA, just remember not to GTA yourself there, because it's a lot more dangerous in real life. Yeah, and Future Tech Eric, GTA 3 did break a ton of ground. It was an amazing game. It still is an amazing game. I can't wait for their next revision of it. I don't see how they can make that game bad, honestly. Yeah, that is something that they've been doing, is each game they up the map size and add at least a couple new features. I know the biggest thing in Vice City was having the motorcycles. Not sure really about the other two, San Andreas and 4, but the biggest thing with 5 is you can flip your car back over. God, that's so nice, actually. That's like,
you can actually control it slightly while it's in the air too.
Yeah. But the nicest thing is that if you flip your car over, you actually have the chance to be able to flip it back over. So
yeah, that is nice.
That's so nice. It is a great game, though. Absolutely love it.
I got a car stuck on top of some guardrails yesterday. I couldn't, even after I flipped it over, it wouldn't go anywhere. It was bumper and bumper. The wheels.
That's one of the best things about that game, is finding out stuff you're not supposed to be able to do. San Andreas gave you planes. That's right. They didn't have planes in the first one. Thanks for that. What about GTA 4? Do you know much about what that one gave us? I actually did not get past even the first city portion of GTA 4. I did like it went back to the mafia style stuff, though. That's always fun. So speaking of game systems, it looks like someone has came out for a update to the original NES. Oh, nice.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, they did have helicopters in Vice City, so that was the cool thing there. Oh yeah, that was probably not a good thing. Yeah, so somebody has come up with an update for the original NES. You can, it's a receiver that you can plug into the NES if you still have one that's working. And you can use a PlayStation controller, it looks like, with it. So that's pretty awesome. It's amazing what the stuff is using. It looks like you can use a Wii remote as well. Oh, sorry, Glenn. Later, Glenn. Yeah, it doesn't look like we got any buffers here. It must be Australia.
Take care, Glenn. Thanks for joining us.
This is why we'd have to have a streaming server over in the other side of the world. Yeah, so I thought it was pretty awesome that they have all that stuff for NES still coming out. I just thought this article was funny. So apparently, Uber drivers have partnered with the Teamsters union in California. Yeah, it was a return to Liberty City, Eric. And that was fun going through some of the stuff with newer graphics and updated everything. So, I thought this Teamsters thing was kind of interesting. Like I'm picturing back in the time of when the Teamsters first started out, and they had that guy. What's his name? What's the famous Teamsters guy?
Hoffa.
Yeah, Jimmy Hoffa. So I'm like, that's what I'm picturing when I think like all these Uber drivers around Jimmy Hoffa. But yeah, apparently they're coming up with a new group. It's like ride sharing, unlimited. Let's see what app-based drivers association. Really sexy name there. So yeah, and you may have heard that Uber or a bunch, either Uber and the other one have been having a lot of issues with employees and how they classify them and contract workers and stuff like that, and then dealing with the states and how they handle it and the cities and how they handle it and all that stuff. So yeah, Eric, I do agree that the cars in GTA 4 are much harder to drive. That's possibly why I didn't spend as much time working with it. I think that I honestly feel like the cars in GTA 4 actually handled more like a real car would. And I think that's what really made GTA 5 better, is because they realized, oh, we're in a game. Why are we trying to make it so realistic to that point where it's not really fun? Like, I've tried doing GTA stuff in a real car. It ain't as much fun as doing it on the video game, I gotta tell you. Even just trying to do the handbrake, turn your car around stuff, not as much fun, a lot scarier. So I'm glad that GTA 5 went back to making it so it's easy to drive and do those things, not where you actually have to think about the true physics of how the car and everything works and feels and stuff.
Okay, so on tomorrow's show, I want to see you do the handbrake trick in real life.
I play a lot of. I'm a big Gran Turismo fan. So the driving on Gran Turismo and the driving on GTA is way different. yeah,
it is. And I feel like 4, they tried to go that route. They tried to go the Gran Turismo route where they tried to make it more realistic of a drive and feeling. So, yeah, definitely don't like. That's one of my biggest gripes, especially like that's actually my biggest gripe against Halo. Halo is a pretty fun game, but any game that limits how many weapons I can carry and my ammo unreasonably, that's not a freaking game. That's why am I playing that even? Like, if I can't carry 50 weapons, then it doesn't make sense, honestly. You're in a game. It's not real life. You're supposed to be able to do things you can't do in real life. So
I do agree with you on that.
Like shoot people and not go to jail.
Well, you can do that, but
said it's a game.
Yeah. Well, it's just that idea. Like the only game that I like that is more like that is Far Cry. Far Cry limits how many weapons you can carry, but Far Cry, it doesn't give, like, it gives you that realistic feeling, but it's like you're still fairly invincible with what you can get and carry. Like, they don't hold rocket launchers off from you too long in the game, so it's like you're limited in how many weapons you can carry, but pretty much in the beginning of the game you can get a rocket launcher, so not that big a deal. Yeah, and that is a problem with GTA, is that you have only have the choice of full throttle or stop. Although I kind of felt like you could get the pressure thing going on, so that
on GTA 5, it's easy. You can get the pressure going. The throttle is one of the trigger buttons. It's much easier to hold different pressure on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure none of those controllers actually have like pressure sensors of how much you're actually pressing in, but maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong.
It does, because on Gran Turismo I can hold it at half throttle if I want to. Or quarter throttle or whatever. So it does work.
Yeah. And yeah, he's saying on a controller, yes, but I'm assuming he's playing it the right way on his computer, how games are meant to be played.
That's right.
I have played all of my stuff on keyboard and mouse, so.
Yeah, there hasn't been a game console in my house since the original NES until my son wanted an Xbox One for Christmas.
Did you just buy him a computer and say, here's the future of Xbox One?
He got the Santa Claus brought the Xbox One, but
Yeah.
It actually rarely gets played.
Well, listen, I purchased an Xbox 360 because I needed a media center PC at a period of time. Don't need that so much anymore, but yeah, I never really played any games on it. I believe I played one time. I played a game on it, and so I'd never got it for that purpose. I just watched like Netflix on it basically. And so, for me, consoles have been nothing to write. Like, I'm exactly like you. Like, since the original Nintendo, I never even went so far as to play the Super Nintendo through. I mostly watched my younger brother play games on it occasionally. So.
Wait, I just thought about something, Eric. What are you doing not going full throttle in GTA? Like, why is that a problem?
Wait, is he one of those people that follows the speed limit?
Damn traffic in this game. You can't get anywhere.
Red lights stopping me all over the place. Red lights you need in a city. Yeah.
That's probably why I never noticed that on those games, is because I'm like, why doesn't this car go faster? I'm pushing the button down harder. So apparently Congress is sure, he says he drives like an old man with a hat. He wanted to see if he could. So another interesting thing, it looks like Congress is actually trying to do something about, they want to at least find out what the NSA did on spying on us.
That was actually like yesterday, or no, that was
3 days ago.
3 days ago, yeah. Anyway, I heard about that. I like those types of inquiries. You always hear about them, asking about them, but the results are usually minimal.
Well, I saw another thing about how how the NSA is working on it. They're having to do a lot to be able to try to provide them that information, apparently.
Yeah.
saying.
Well, did we talk about the story about the NSA saying that, basically Edward Snowden pushed the timeline for mass population encryption up by 7 years? Did you talk about
I've
that?
seen that, but no, we didn't talk about it.
Okay,
And,
so
yeah, the it was like the director or something came out and said this is
it-
the Snowden thing. Put it out
well, generally he didn't like it. He said it wasn't a good thing for the agency or for anybody else. But on the other hand, for instance, Snowden actually says that was the
There's
best
that
thing
article.
the best thing that he ever did. Because basically it gave the American population and the world population the awareness to maybe take their information privacy and security to take it personally and to actually use it and demand it. And that's what we've seen with products have been rolling out more and more encryption. That's why we're seeing all these apps and stuff, that end-to-end encryption apps and all that. I generally actually do agree that it's a good thing about the awareness of it. People should have already been doing it. And the very fact that the NSA just sort of is like, well, we thought the people were more basically they're saying, we thought the American population was 7 years stupider than they actually were. That's stupider. That's not even a word.
Yeah,
but,
that doesn't make sense what you
but,
said.
but what I'm getting at is that they basically consider this to be a threat to national security, because they were able to observe information that they're not, and so their timetable has been pushed forward. Like, for instance, they said where we should be is 7 years from now, and we're already there, in other words. So their 7 year of ahead planning, basically they had to throw away, so they were upset with it. They thought that they have to change now, they have to do something else. And I just don't think the NSA or the FBI or the CIA or any big government agencies should be taking that sort of stance. And
Well, yeah, and
they're not providing a solution to it. They're not even saying there's a solution to the problem.
It seems like it's more of a issue with national security, honestly, that having that stuff. I mean, if they can freely do it, how hard do you think it is for any other country in the world to do it?
We've talked about that before. My feeling.
Spies and stuff for several hundreds of thousands of years, so it's not like it's a new thing that other countries are.
If you look,
that we're doing, which they found out that essentially other countries like Britain were doing the exact same thing that the NSA was doing.
Exactly. Well, my father put it in perspective a little bit, and it turns out, that various agencies have been, basically in public favor or in public, ire, basically. Over various periods of time. At certain times, the FBI was hated, and now they're generally, not. The NSA, or what became the NSA and what became the CIA and things like that. Those agencies were in the Cold War and in the 50s and stuff like that. Those agencies were heralded as being, some of the best in the world, and it was a great part to be a part of them. And so it's it comes and goes. I think we're a little bit anti-NSA now, but the next time the NSA does something good, we'll be extolling their virtues, is what my dad's argument was, or not argument, but my dad's position was. And I don't know exactly what to think about that perspective, and I don't have quite his long-term perspective, but I do believe public opinion does matter. And so in essence, Snowden's argument, about the public awareness is a key point to this. But anyway, I'm just babbling on. Sorry. Oh, Thermos said something about my rant.
That is pretty funny. Proctor, I think you'd really like that. It's
What's
one of the game. The link Thermos just posted. Here, I'll post a smaller link of that. It is pretty funny. It's a lip sync spoof of various Games of Thrones characters. It's pretty good.
have to listen to it later.
Yeah. Okay. And just to throw it out there, guys. These are very, very popular and common these days, but it used to be hard to, get a audio track to line up with something after the fact, unless you did it intentionally from the get-go. But it's really easy to do software-wise, particularly like with Muppets or things that don't have very good facial expressions on their mouth and things like that. But not to obviously
You're
this.
talking about lip syncing?
Well, I'm assuming. Well, you know what? I didn't look at the video. I'm not really sure what it is, but I was assuming it meant throwing like different words on top of people.
Yeah, it is kind of like that.
Yeah. So
it still doesn't beat the greatest lip syncing of all time, which is "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
I don't know about that, but
what? Have you not seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh my gosh, that's the best. Oh, that's by far the best.
Well, but the point is that there's an you can make anything match up with anything with software now. It's pretty easy to accomplish software wise. So you're seeing the preponderance of these types of videos is what I was suggesting earlier. The preponderance of these types of videos is a result of that technology being cheap and easily obtained and widely spread, and computing power generally increasing over time.
Future Tech Eric, I did see that as well, and yeah, who in their right mind in this day and age would ask for people to rename something? So the Robert E. Lee Elementary wants to change their name because they're not a fan of Robert E. Lee and the Confederate and all that stuff now. So they are taking nominations for it, and some of the nominations they got. Drew Brees Elementary, Bruce Lee Elementary, John Cena Elementary, Adolf Hitler School for Friendship and Tolerance, and Schooly McSchoolface. So
Schooly McSchoolface.
I'm really not a fan of changing the names. I mean, these names
generally
are part of our history. I think it's important to know our history and remember our history.
What if somebody said, I think everybody should forget Martin Luther King, or I think everybody should forget a particular president?
Well, no. There's knowing your history, and then there's celebrating your history. Like, those people you're going to celebrate because of what they did. You're not really supposed to be celebrating what the Confederacy did.
No. I would certainly. Is that what they're doing? I'm sorry.
Well, it's Robert E. Lee.
Well, it's an elementary school. I mean, that doesn't mean that they have that they round up slaves every day before lunch. I mean,
no, it's not that. It's the fact that so if you're supposed to have pride in your school, then I mean, the only pride that you can have for Robert E. Lee School is running Confederate flags up everywhere. And
I think you're making a little leap there. You could, what is your mascot? I guess. I mean, I don't know.
That's the kind of thing. And I do agree with Proctor that I'm not fond of changing the names, but in certain situations, I can understand where it would go. Like, especially public buildings and places like that may have been named for the wrong reasons, that would probably be a situation that it would be fine changing it. But offering it up for other people to suggest a name for is just terrible idea in the internet age.
Didn't I talk about this with Bodie McBoatface previously?
That's why they have a play on that, Schooly McSchoolfaces.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same issue. You should never ever take a general poll on a name.
So wait.
There are other names you could do something historically if you really wanted
to put this out there. This is 9 minutes and 8 seconds of your life that is worth every single second of it. By far one of the best lip syncs that I've ever seen, and I'll probably be saying this throughout the day in the office now. Thank you, Thermos, for bringing that issue up. It is a great lip sync.
I just heard a quick.
cartoon.
I just heard a quick second of it, and I was a big fan of the X-Men cartoon, by the way. Watched that religiously, but yeah. So I just heard
Proctor did
like
not
2
play
seconds.
that one over.
Will
I
do.
heard 2 seconds of it, and I'm already thinking it's. I agree with Brantley actually. 2 seconds, and we'll see. Brantley and our taste on videos and shows and other types of things are usually quite different. So we'll see. But I'm liking Juggernaut. Yeah.
So this is also from last Friday as well, but here's the first data leak that was intentional that I've heard about in a long time.
Oh, I read up on this the other day.
CERN opens up 300 terabytes of large hadron
collider data. Yeah. So the relevance of this is not. I mean, this is nothing big, but this is what you generally would like to see. Basically, they got done with the data. The data still has a lot of educational value, and a lot of studies can be helped by analyzing what they found there, and it's certainly a growth opportunity. And they're making that data available, and not only making it available, but actually providing tools and ways to simplify access to it. And so they're largely an educational thing too. I mean, for budding scientists to be able to, because what scientists could get access to that type of data, and they, and it's free, and they're doing, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think, this should be a model for the world generally, this type of thing, but you'll generally only find it in pure science. But it also proves that they are doing it for science and not doing it for monetary gain. They could lock away the data, and then charge people to access it if they really wanted to, I suppose.
Yep.
But I thought it was cool. Brantley, did you have a different take on it, or?
No, that's all good. Eric, yeah, that if you like the '90s animated X-Men, you will love that clip. I seriously can't believe that everybody in the world hasn't seen that, because it is just that awesome of a clip. So in other news too, looks like the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has taken to Twitter and is starting to shame people in public if they're texting and driving. This was really interesting because, like, that's one of the big things, especially like in this. Oh man, there was a great line from Plan 9. Insta tweet Google face or something error. I'll have to go back and look up that proper phrasing, but yeah, oh fuck, I forget his name. Sorry. Anyway, it's interesting because people will publicly post things on all of these social media things and not think twice about, hey, what I'm doing is probably illegal, because texting and driving is illegal in, I believe, all 50 states now. But basically, the transit authorities going out, and when it sees tweets of that nature, they're like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. You're putting yourself and others in danger. Just drive. So, interesting way to go about it. I do like that they're not sending people to knock down doors over it and taking away a driver's license off of it, but that's a possibility going into the future, and we got to remember that kind of stuff. Is that social media is great and everything, but you got to remember what you're posting out there other people can find. And
yeah, well, I don't know.
Essentially an admission of guilt.
But listen. What do you consider though? And I'm not saying not one way or the other, but people have taken a stance on bullying, let's say, in modern times, and isn't this effectively the government saying that bullying is sort of is a good thing? And would you want someone to be?
No, none of the tweets were really bullying. They were just like matter of fact, hey, you shouldn't be doing this.
Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, bullying.
Okay, Yeah.
You idiot! What are you doing texting and driving? Just drive.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not that way. All right.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Like they're actually saying, please and do everyone a favor and things like that. So.
Well, it has to be worded right, though. I mean, they do need to take some time and thought into it.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing is that a lot of times you'll see lots of these national agencies or big corporations take to Twitter or social media and not word things right. And I believe what they've done has been done extremely well, and I'm actually a fan of it. So.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Brantley, as always.
Hey, speaking of X-Men, the official final trailer has been released for Apocalypse, and it's just as good as the other one. So, and it is sad, Eric, that they have to go to that extent to get people to notice. But honestly, I will use my phone and drive. So, Tweet Police is a great name.
Well, awareness is always good about anything, and sometimes we don't like to look at certain social issues, but that doesn't mean they're social issues that
yes, futures like Nels. The government is doing that.
What? Who's doing what? Oh. What is this?
Yeah, so, well, I got a ton of other links, but I think we should save them for tomorrow because we've reached past our hour point. Did any of y'all have anything else you want to talk about real quick?
No, but thanks, Nels. Yeah, I just watched that. That's cool. No, I'm good. I just encourage everybody to not do what I did and show your IP addresses when you show off your routers, but generally take a look at your routers. The fact that these are generally updated, the packages are recent, they're patched. I think it's probably a good idea to do that and not give your put your trust and security to a over-the-counter router from that you really have no idea where it was manufactured, where it was made, how it's built, the software it's using, and whether or not the manufacturer will put out a firmware update with some sort of fix to any problem that may come across. You could take that kind of in your own hands and your own responsibility with these types of things. And the hardware that they run on is so relatively cheap these days that there's really no reason to not do it, and really put you in the driver's seat. And mine's a simpler distribution, it sounds like, than maybe what some of the expanded plugins and additions to PF Sense. But there's a lot of other ones out there. We've also talked about Untangle and things like that. Please look into them if you haven't already. That'd be great for your business too.
And also remember that we'll have a great discount for anyone that can reboot Michael's computer remotely, and he has his IP address and what VPN he's using, so you have attack methods. Plus, I gave you the April 2016 vulnerabilities list for PF Sense bases. So he also mentioned that he cannot be hacked now. He feels hack-proof.
Okay, slow down. But for your business owners out there who want to offer additional services, you could offer, your own, let's say, custom hardware, basically, to your customer around these sort of built around these sort of things. I mean, you have to just make sure you licensing.
Futures Eric says that anyone breaking into Michael's router should leave a nice note saying how much we appreciate him.
Thank you.
Reboot computer and just make it say that. That will be even more awesome.
Well, at any rate, So anyway, just awareness. Again, mentioning encryption, we always talk about it and stuff. These are things that allow you to do that. Obviously, though, I don't know that I'm portraying the licensing correctly on these things. A lot of these things are open source based, and and you just want to make sure that you do it. But I don't think it should be fine. Would it be okay to sell a product based around these things?
You'd have to look more into the license. I can't go on record to say one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
You can go in and install it for people and set it up for people. I mean, you can sell them the hardware that you're going to put it on.
Well, but I believe there will be ways to monetize it for your businesses out there. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Selling them the hardware for it, selling them the set work and labor for it, selling them the support going down the road for it. All of that is extremely valuable income. So
yeah, I guess that's where I'm going basically. Thanks for confirming that, Brantley.
Yep. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. We hope you have a good rest of your week going forward. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Again, we're here to answer any questions about our software and services. Otherwise, we're just filling this dead air with this kind of stuff. Thanks for the entire Futures Tech crew joining us. Eric, Ian, Nels, Shree, Quark. Thermos, thanks for that awesome GTA or GOT link. And Shuk, if you're there, awesome. Hey, long time to talk. And otherwise, I guess see you all tomorrow. So take us on out, Proctor.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, Internet.
Bye.